No.
All right. Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to Thursday's edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Info. I'm Joel Elconin, back in the saddle here. Joe, how you doing?
Don't forget, this is round two, and I realized the first time that we went off sort of half-cocked a little bit, we didn't preview what guests we were having on the show today,
Oh,
ladies and
yeah,
gentlemen. Don't.
yeah.
Today is
Okay.
Fari Thursday. We're going to figure out how to pay for that expensive Chicago soup today, and we also have a very special guest that Joel flew back from Las Vegas just to interview. Rachel Fox of Fox on Stocks, a 17-year-old day trader, actor, and musician, will be on the show today at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, all
That's all I
right.
got. I'm sure Dennis is out there somewhere chomping at the bit, right, Dennis?
I'm here. I'm itching. I'm ready to rock and roll. Joel's back here. So what's that mean to us here? Are we going to have technical difficulties because Joel had us on mute off the bat, but
You know,
we're
see,
back.
you know
It
what?
just wouldn't be a day with Joel
Yeah, you
without
see, you guys,
technical
I'm gone,
difficulties.
and you guys blame me. You know, whenever something goes wrong on this show, it's my fault, okay? And I'm gone Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you guys have technical difficulties.
Oh,
So what?
Monday went perfect, and
Oh,
Tuesday and Wednesday you jinxed us. That's
so
what
what does
happened.
that say? Can I have an on-air apology from everybody
You had
here?
us on mute this morning, so we're not giving you an
How, who?
on-air
I didn't hear
apology
you
here.
on mute.
And you showed up 7 minutes before the show was supposed to go on, like Joe was
Yeah,
saying. If you
Joel,
would have to
no,
show up,
no
You
apology
little,
for you.
you
No crying in baseball. Just,
babies, you
look forward
babies.
and
God,
keep it
cry
moving. Keep it
babies,
moving.
man. Crybabies. Anyways, S&P's looking at the daily chart here. Only thing you can keep an eye on is the 75.50 level, yesterday's high. We are trading above that level. Went up to 77, 75. We need carry through that level up to 1900, right, Dennis? I'm glad I don't have a bet on that number.
I'm just looking at the S&P charts here, and obviously we had the big sell-off. Everybody got caught long with the rush, and then the next day we spiked all the way back. I thought maybe there'd be some profit taken from people who got caught in that big sell-off, and then no, we just get 2 days of consolidation here, and I think it's like the pause, and who knows, we could end up starting to march back up to that 1900. It's so hard to short this market because every time you short this market, they just come in. Those buy the dippers come in with their buying shoes on. They buy it back higher. So I don't know, but it's definitely a stock pickers market here too because certain stocks don't participate as much as other stocks. It's kind of weird. Even when you look in the individual sectors, there's some stocks rallying harder than other stocks.
Okay, and what did gold do? We got a little gold fear here. Is there a war over there or what? What's Russia doing? Can Putin make up his mind? Does he want to invade? Doesn't want to invade? It looks like things are kind of copacetic over there right now, so things look okay. But gold did manage to rally, still sticking back in that range. What 1320? Did we get above 1350? Yeah, got up to
Kissed it, kind of.
1355. So last couple days after the fear trade where we got up to 1355 and 1352, I come back and I find super support here in gold for all you gold bugs out there. Let's keep an eye on 1331, the last three lows, and that's not even including today. 1330.70 to 1332.70. Call that whole area 1331.30, and that is today's low. Major support there in crude gold at 1331.
The one thing to consider, though, is like we've been saying the last couple of days, the divergence is back. For the last month and a half, gold had been rallying when the market's rallying. It's not happening again here this morning. S&P futures up 3, trending up to new highs. Gold trending down. So you've got that divergence from gold and the S&P futures is back. So keep that in mind. If we start marching to 1900, then your super duper support might be in trouble.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens today. It just seemed like gold doesn't want to give in. It's probably one of your best performers for the year so far, huh?
It's been great. Yeah, it's been great. It's been the year where they've been buying last year's laggers, like we talked about that. I mean, you look at a chart like of Alcoa, a stock that was basically left for dead for the most part of last year. Towards December, it did start rallying, but that stock started the year down in the $10 handle. It's now up at 12.17 here this morning. So a lot of stocks, and all the miners, obviously, with the gold rally, but a lot of stocks that they did have for dead last year have found some life this year.
Yeah, Alcoa can't wait to rally here. We're trading.
It's itching.
Yep. Had a nice rally in that stock. All the aluminum being used by Ford to build those new trucks. It's coming into the market here, coming up on a nice level though. Couple highs at 12.16 back on the 26th and the 27th. We've hit 12.14 in today's session. Above that, you have the recent high of the move at 12.32.
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing. It obviously had the big run up from like 10 to 12 after the bad earnings report. They shrugged it off, bought it up for 6, 7 consecutive days, got up to 12.32, pulled back to the whole $11 area, call that area like the 50% retracement, and then it's been trying to march, trying to march. I think it's going to test that 12.32 area maybe as soon as today. It might take a couple days before it wants to go, but I still like this one as a long on buying on pullbacks.
Okay, sounds good to me too.
Crude, what's crude doing, Joel? We got that big $100
Yeah.
psychological level. Yeah, we're coming back and trying to test that level. We had the big breakout on the Russia news, got up, kissed the 105, kind of double topped up
Wow.
there, and then it's been pulling back ever since. There doesn't seem to be any problems over there in
Yeah.
the Ukraine.
Yeah, I looked at that earlier in the week when it was trading like 104, 104.50, and I figured it, was primarily based on the trouble over there. And now we've pulled back. I mean, nice round number like 100. You have to consider that to be excellent support. Traded a little bit below yesterday's low here, but still seem to be hanging in there. So we'll see if crude can hold that $100 level. But pretty big sell off. The old fear trade, boy. You guys had some volatility when I was gone.
Yeah, there's been a little bit in individual stocks. Look at ExxonMobil from yesterday too, because we had the big sell-off there in the pre-market when they were broke that one headline just from going back to the Benzinga Pro. It says ExxonMobil shares moving lower, just getting underway. Our analyst day just getting underway. And the company issued a release discussing new projects planned for 2014. They obviously didn't love those. They really sold the stock off there yesterday. The stock breaking down and getting down to 93.39 before closing at 93.80. But that was a pretty big technical breakdown
What
there yesterday for
what
Exxon.
what did they release?
Getting back into the pro here. They were talking about new projects planned for 2014. It was Analyst Day, I guess, the
Uh-huh.
company's Analyst Day. And whatever they were saying on that company's Analyst Day, they weren't liking it because they started really rocking the stock there. In the pre-market yesterday, it opened up near the lows at 95.29 and just kind of went straight down from there. It tried to hang out for a little bit, but then cascaded down throughout the day. And it even dragged Chevron down a little bit. Chevron actually did open higher. If you had a chance, you actually probably could have had a nice pair trade on there. It opened higher and started getting dragged down there too.
Well, you don't have to worry about this stock. It's only going to go higher. You know why?
Why?
Because Warren Buffett owns it.
And Warren Buffett can't be wrong.
Exactly.
You got to give Warren Buffett props. Look at that Berkshire Hathaway stock. Bring up the BRK.B because it is 118.98. Now it's up another 50 cents here this morning at 119.46. This stock continues to make all-time highs. You want to talk about a stock that is potentially breaking out. Look at this Berk.B chart. This thing is consolidated basically for the last 6 months between 110 and 120. It is itching. It is itching to break through that 120 level.
Yeah, have we pulled that up here on InfoWriter before? Maybe it's
Maybe it doesn't like the dot. Did you try slash? I don't know. How do you do the dot?
there you go, Dennis, man, with the slash.
On the save.
On
That
the
is the save.
InfoWriter. Let's see. This thing has been trading in a range for quite a while. I know it's been trading near the lower 112 quadrant, now up at 118 here, 119. Looking at it from a daily perspective here, boom, boom, boom. I believe this is an old. Look at this. Look at
Real
this
close.
thing. Yeah, look at this on a
Yeah.
monthly though, Dennis. Doesn't that get you bearish here? All the times it's come up to here and failed.
Needs
Look
to break out above 120. I mean, it moves with the overall market. It's a big mutual fund here. So, but that's an interesting point here too, because the market's always been making new highs all year last year, and Berkshire kind of wasn't. So I guess I gave maybe some props to Warren Buffett here a little bit too soon because it's kind of been dead money for the last 6 months, where obviously the market has been up probably 15% since that time.
All right, just looking at the trading from yesterday, you had a high at 119.08. You're trading up almost 50 cents from that level. So let's keep an eye. Pre-market high in that is 119.50. So seems like for the SPOOs only being up 3, it seems like a big move in the pre-market for Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah, that's just an odd lot. Couple odd lots
Okay,
trading up there.
I
It's bid
should've known.
119, so yeah, that 119.46. It's not. If the SPOOs only open up 3, I don't think this opens up at 119.46. It usually moves pretty close with the S&P, but you know the one thing when you look at the Berkshire Hathaway chart and you see the S&P futures against it, and obviously the S&P futures chart, if you bring that up for the last 6 months and just compare it. When we're saying, the S&P futures are up probably from the whole 1650 area to 1850 in the same time frame, that's kind of just telling you that they are like Warren Buffett's obviously value. He's always looking at value stocks, the bigger companies, the more stable companies. You can just see how this market has went into growth more. They've been going into companies like Facebook, and they've been going into Teslas, and they've been going into the Googles. And I don't follow the Warren Buffett holdings very closely, but I know overall he's always looking at nice dividends, value, stable companies. And you can see in the last 6 months, they obviously haven't been buying those companies because Berkshire Hathaway stock really hasn't rallied. They've been buying growth.
The
It's been a growth.
Momos. The Momos.
Yeah, the Momos, and Berkshire isn't in that. So, but it tends to cycle. So when you start seeing Berkshire start to take off, some of these other value stocks could come back into favor too. So right now, still Momo. Momo's got the market here, but eventually we could start moving into value here too. So you just want to keep that in mind, and the Berkshire Hathaway is a good indicator for that. Let's move on to some of the earnings plays here, Joel.
We're
We
still
got some
in
good
earnings
ones.
season? Holy man.
It's always earnings
Brandon,
season.
are we
We
still
got
in earnings season? I need official confirmation.
I'd say the retail earnings season is kind of rounding down. I think retail is usually sort of the last sector that reports earnings. So I think we kind of still are in earnings season. Yeah, it's definitely winding down though.
Okay. All right, that's official then.
We got those Kroger earnings yet? Have they broke since we started the show? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I don't see him, Dennis. I'll let you
Brent's
know though.
going to keep an eye out for the
Yes,
Kroger
sir.
earnings. Let's move on to Costco here. Costco, your favorite stock, Joel, where you like to buy all that stuff. Down $2 here today. $1.05 versus $1.17.
Whew.
25.76 billion versus 26.67 billion. That's a miss on the top line. That's a miss on the bottom line. Same store sales up 4%. That's helping a little bit here. Stock usually doesn't move too much on earnings, though. It often moves just a few bucks, and that's what we're seeing here this morning. It's only down $2.97 right now, 113.50. What's the technicals look like on Costco?
We got a slight bump down to 112.01 here, just in the last bracket. A couple thousand shares traded there. Bump back up on an outlet here to 113.50. I was just looking at this thing here on the daily, and boy, been nice to be able to short this thing going through the 115.80 level. You had 2 lows there in the last previous trading sessions. So if you do get that'd be like a $3 bounce here, or maybe over the next couple trading sessions, you come back up to that 116 level. Gonna be a mound of resistance here. We did take out the low from February 10th at 112.58. That's still a relevant number to me. We hit 112.05 and bounced. So I give that whole 112 even, 112.50. We'll call that 112 and a quarter. You get a shot to buy there. It should be decent support, at least to cover short. I don't know, because if you look to go long in that area and that 112 doesn't handle, you're looking at 110, and you surely don't want to hold on to something for $2 there. But,
yeah, it's all air below that 112, like 88 area.
Yeah, look
It's
at that.
all low.
Costco, I guess I haven't gone shopping there in a while.
Yeah, you got to get over there, Joel. They need you. They need you. Staples also report earnings. Have you shopped at Staples lately? When's the last time anybody shopped at Staples? Here's a question to our chat. Is anybody like avid Staples shoppers over there? You go to Staples, Joel?
Crickets.
Yeah.
Crickets.
How about the
Joel does. If
How
Joel
about-
goes
how
there,
about
then you really know it's old.
How about the
stuff.
symbol
It's
on that puppy?
SPLS.
Ah,
Okay, I'll give you a pass because it's Staples. SPLS.
I haven't. I don't shop there. I do a little Office Max and stuff, or else I just steal supplies here from the office.
Office Max. Is that still in stock?
OMX, or did they get bought out by somebody?
There's still a stack.
Let's.
What's the symbol at
O
Office Max? I don't.
OMX.
Oh, there we're
OMX.
even now, Dennis. I got you.
OMX is not
Ooh.
OMX. I've got OMX up. What is
No,
it?
I see.
No.
I see OMX.
ODP.
That's Office Depot.
Oh, they
That's
Oh,
merged.
no, Dennis, you're totally right. Yeah, I don't. I think was it
I
Office
think
Depot?
Office Depot and
Yeah,
Office
yeah,
Max
yeah. You're right.
together.
Okay.
So we got
Good call.
ODP now.
Goldfish memory is not there today.
We got a big break in this thing in the pre-market. Got it down to 1175.
Pretty.
Yeah, backed up here. To the boom, boom, boom. We just bumped back up to 1240. So that's your intraday resistance. Taking a look at the daily charts, you had a low at 1261. We got way through that. I'm sorry, the pre-market low, yeah, 1175. So 1175, 1261 could be your early trading range in staples.
Here's the numbers from Staples. So 33 cents versus 39 cents. That's a miss. 5.87 billion on the sales versus 5.96 billion on the sales. That's a miss. Here's a big headline. Closing 225 stores by 2015. So I guess they're following Radio Shack's lead there, closing stores here. I don't know. I don't like to be long retailers when they're closing stores. I did go and look at the short interest on some of these stocks. That's the only thing that can help to obviously prop up some of these things, because the short interest on all of these stocks, Radio Shack, Staples, Sears, all the Sazi hated stocks, the short interest is quite high. So that's the only concerning if you're putting on a short, that this short interest continues to climb. But from a fundamental perspective, man, these stocks are Staples, Radio
When do you
Shack.
like to be long retail stocks, Dennis?
I always hated retail stocks.
Yeah.
You're right. I've never been a retail stock fan, and I got punished for it too, because a lot of those retail stocks really took off. I had that Home Depot. I had a whole bunch of them back in my portfolio, and then the financial crisis happened, and they all went down to almost nothing. So that scared the hell out of me. So when a lot of these things were coming back, I was actually trying, to lighten up my retail stock portfolio. I've lightened it up to almost the point of owning no
Wow.
retail stocks.
What
but-
happened to JC Pig here? Did it get a
Short squeeze, man. That's
Oh.
what happens when this short interest gets up that high and everybody gets bearish and everybody wants to be in and short in the stock. You get squeezed, and they came out. What was that?
What
Greg, do you
happened
remember-
on something happened
There
on
you go.
Monday though? What happened? Because you had the gap and go, and I was still here.
What was the gap and go from again?
Well,
'Cause I
it
was
had
away now.
earnings. It had
It was
earnings.
earnings, yeah.
Then it had a quiet day,
And they weren't
And-
going out of business on the.
and then it had
so
a
that was-
big up day. So someone obviously knew they were going to upgrade it here. On what day was that? Maybe I was.
The earnings were on the night of the 26th, so that reaction was on the 27th.
27.
Yep.
Yeah, but what happened? What happened when it went close to 728, made a 704 low, and then sprinted to 799? Was there?
Was that on the 24th? are you
No,
looking?
that was on here. You get all screwed.
S&P affirms the ratings. Was that the S&P affirmed their rating? on
That
Jason?
might have been that day.
Wow, and then you got the bolt up here over 850. The only thing I'd alert our traders to here that are long this thing, 867 was the high on the 4th. That coincides with a high that you had at 872 on January 7th. So that's an area. Above that, you got to be knocking on the $9 level. It did trade at 917 on the first day of the year. So, wow.
9 is huge. We
Oh.
consolidated there for 5, 6, 7 days. This thing gets up to 9. I might even try to short this thing. So even with the short, let's go look at the short interest. Yeah, I'm going to try to find the short interest. Hang on.
JCP shares up 50% in the last 8 trading session. It's only closed lower once in the last 8 trading sessions here.
Have we talked to the Size Monster about this at all? Have we had any?
We haven't. Sazi, I'm sure, has been a busy guy with all the retail earnings coming in, but
Yeah.
we'll get him on the
'Cause
show here soon.
Yeah, because I know he was a little. He didn't love the numbers, and I know he was still.
He was comparing it to the cute puppy smile, luring you in.
Hey, but you know what? The size man, so that makes him what 90% now on his last 10 calls here.
He's
you
been-
know,
he's
yeah,
been pretty
yeah,
solid.
he's been incredible there. So, hey, that's,
Hey, here's the
that's
short interest. So I'm just looking from the last year. I'm looking at the whole logging of the last year. Basically, a year ago, the short interest was 61 million shares. It is now 128 million shares. So the short interest has doubled over the last year. And if you look at the trend, it's just been steadily climbing here. Second thing to consider is the float is 304 million. So you're looking at like 35% of the float is short. That is why this thing has been taken off, because everybody's been banking on this thing going to zero, getting short the thing, and this is a classic short squeeze. Every time there's even halfway good news or anything that looks, the shorts are scrambling to get out. That is a huge short interest when you're 35 or 40% of the float short. That is scary.
Yeah, I guess if you look at this on a monthly chart here, I guess you'd have to use $10 as to see if this thing can get back in double digits. But wow, I'm looking at this thing, two gap and goes. I don't like that, but hey, you can't fight it. Looking at the trading from yesterday, you had a low at 812, and boy, you're still trading above that here. So keep an eye on. I guess the $8 level would be a chance for maybe if you want to protect some of those profits from nearly the double. And the other thing about this thing I noticed, when it made the low, it made an exact double bottom at 490. And then right before earnings, it made a triple bottom, 522, 523. So perhaps you don't start licking your chops until the short side, at least until you got a double top to lean on. And yesterday and Tuesday weren't exactly a double top here, but if this hangs out for another day or two between 852 and 867 and doesn't fall through the $9 level, then I'd be looking for a pullback.
Here, I'm going to throw you a softball here. Before we leave the sector, let's talk about Radio Shack. And Joel, where is the big support here in Radio Shack? I'm just scratching my head on this one. It's a tough one to figure out. RSH.
Let me see here as we're pulling it up. RSH, the big support here. What's that, down at the 202, 207 level?
That's what I'm saying. What do you think of that $2 level in RSH?
I don't know. I mean, I know if I buy it there,
look out to the weeklies on it. Go back to 2012, 2013. Look at this level. $1.90, $1.91, $1.98, $1.92, $2, 201, 201, 202. I'm looking at the weekly lows there.
Yeah.
Back from 2012. Just multiple lows. Came back down obviously early this year. Retested $2. Now they've had the bad. Was it bad earnings? Brent? My goldfish memory. Was it bad earnings 2 days ago? I think so.
Do they have a book value? I mean, is it like a negative book value? Okay, sorry.
I don't know if there's going to be a book value on, and they've been not doing well here for so long. I think it's just, how long they can survive. But again, you've got to look at these things with the only thing that's going to drive these things higher. It's obviously not fundamentals, is the potential for a short squeeze. Here's the short float looking at it. It's kind of in climb. It's 40 million shares here right now. Let's go look and see how many shares are outstanding. Radio Shack has 100 million shares outstanding. So 40% of the float is short on this one too. So that's scary, man. It's 12 days to cover, as they're saying, 13 days to cover on average volume of 3 million shares. So there's a lot of people banking that this one is going out of business here too. This thing starts to turn around, you could squeeze them. $2 is huge, so I think we might test that. Obviously, that needs to hold.
I guess the Super Bowl commercial effect
didn't quite work.
It didn't quite work on that one.
That's what we were talking about.
Maybe everybody's flocking to the stores though, because that wouldn't have been in the last quarter's results. It'd be the next quarter's results.
This is
Maybe
true.
It's like, I got to go check out those new Radio Shack stores. Oh, these stores are awesome.
Hey, Dennis,
Maybe.
just to answer your question, they reported a loss of $1.29. The street was looking for a 14-cent per share loss, and then the sales missed by. They reported 935 million, and the street was over 1.1 billion. So yeah, really bad earnings.
Yeah, that would explain the big sell-off there 2 days ago. So $2, that's the low I'm looking, and I'm just scared to short it down here because they come into that big support, and the 40% of the float is short. Joy Global, JOY. Here's stock actually. Is those numbers right? 49 cents, or was there some adjustments there, Brent? Because the stock's trading higher in the pre-market. I'm looking, it was 49 cents reported against estimates of 64, but maybe there was an adjusted number there because the stock is actually trading up 20 cents.
It looks like 49 was the adjusted number. They did narrow guidance a little bit. Fiscal year guidance narrowed from a prior range of 3 to 350 to a new range of 310 to 350. So maybe the street kind of getting a little optimistic on the outlook at least.
Gotta pop. You gotta pop in this thing. In the pre-market here, you got over the $56 level, got all the way up to $56.52. That was an odd lot here. We're hanging up here at 56. My feeling on this one, yesterday's high closed right on the high. Street leaning the right way. Also, big volume yesterday, too, ahead of earnings. 55.83 was yesterday's high. We're holding the $56 level. Had a high at 56.14 here on the 27th back in February. I say if this holds the 55.80, $56 area, I'd look at the rally up. Really no resistance, though, in the rest of the 56 handle. So, spoos up, trading above yesterday's high. Hang with it. Below that 55.79 close here, though, I don't think I'd fall in love with it.
J-Dot's asking about the favorite stocks of the week. Fuel Cell, Ballard Power, Plug. They all did pull back yesterday. We knew eventually they were going to have a pullback. These things have just been monsters. Bring up the chart on BLDP first there, Joel,
Okay.
because just to get you, because you've been away here for a few days,
Yeah.
look at what this stock has done. It was $2.50. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh, wow.
5, 6, 7 trading sessions ago. It was $2.50.
Hey, real
It got
quick.
up to over $6 in the pre-market yesterday. It didn't go over there in the regular session, but it was over $6 in the pre-market. Here it is. It is trying to pull back here a little bit farther this morning. We did reverse, a big reversal there yesterday. So I think if this thing tries to sniff a rally, I think there's some people saying, I want out, I want to book those profits.
What are you going to say there, Brenster?
I talked to an analyst yesterday. He was highlighting that there's been kind of a recent recovery in fundamentals, said that there's a recent uptick in customer adoption. He believes the street has recently woken up to some of these recovering fundamentals. So just an interesting tidbit there on some of those fuel cell plays.
So what? So just in my absence here, what is the core of these companies? What the hell do they do basically?
Fuel cells.
Fuel cells. Okay. Who was Plug in? Is Plug Power? Is that in this?
Yeah, same deal. PLUG. Bring up the chart on that one too. Looks the same.
Because
It was $1. It was $1. It was in the like $1.50 when it started the year. It's $6.75 here or $6.69 here in the pre-market.
Who
right
was
now.
who was in the chat room that was all over this thing? There was somebody. Was it? I don't know if it was J Dot or GGB.
Ace of Stocks was doing good with it too. I
Was
think
it
there's been a
Ace of-
few people. Ace of Stocks, GGB's been on it. GGB's in there right now. You still in there, GGB? You still in these plays? Because Plug actually, what do you think of this one, Joel? It didn't make a new high there yesterday.
Yeah, well, you do get, yeah. I mean, it's just a pause. It's a momentum stock. Once you get the
Yeah.
momentum going here. But $7 is, yeah, these things look a little tired today. Got over a big whole number like 7 yesterday and the day before. 701, 709. Couldn't hold the close above 7. Now you had a double close, 669, 675 here. Boy, if this thing doesn't get above 680 pretty quickly here, I'd be looking at to take out yesterday's low at 645 or perhaps get down to that 624 level.
Also, we want to take a look at is Fuel Cell FCEL. Same deal. Look at this one. This was $2. $2 3 days ago. Got up to 3.40 yesterday before starting to pull back here. So these things, nothing just goes straight up here too. So you're right. We need a pause. We need some pullback here. We need to, shake out some of the people that are just been, making a lot of money on this thing. Get some new longs in there. So I think you need to get some type of pause here in these stocks. So they've just been taking off. We got a little bit yesterday.
Did they have any earnings? Did anybody come out with say they were actually
I don't
making
think
money
so.
in this, or did Goldman Sachs come up and upgraded to a screaming buy, or is just kind of?
You guys are talking the fuel cell still, right?
Yeah. Any analysts?
So
on this?
I was kind of digging into the story a little bit yesterday, and it seems like that rise was kind of very loosely correlated to results out of Ballard Power. I believe those were on maybe the 25th or 26th of February, and then Fuel Cell will be reporting results on March 10th, and then also Plug Power will be reporting results on March 13th.
Does-
So
So
you
they're
are
coming
gonna,
up.
yeah, you are going to get a little bit of volatility, continued volatility in these names.
Does this relate to the Tesla at all?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because
It's definitely an alternative energy, but I don't know that it's related to like Solar City or Tesla.
okay, all right. Because I was just thinking the alternative energy play. But wow, that's a pretty nice chart here. If you've been long that, if you've been short, well.
I think there's a relationship, though. But just, even if it's not a pure relationship, just from a psychological perspective,
Right,
like fuel
right.
cells, electric cars, fuel cell. I mean, it's all kind of related. So I think they're just looking for the next Tesla. They're buying all these things, thinking, "Oh yeah, this is the next wave to come here." And these stocks were all $1, now they're all $3, $4, $5, $6. Everybody thinks they're going to be the next Tesla. They're going to be $50. I just don't know if I see that happening, but they've definitely got the momentum, so it's hard to short them.
Wow,
Hey,
go ahead, Brent.
if you want to continue the fuel cell talk, I was going to jump over some of the data that just broke.
Sure.
Okay, so we did have just a minute ago, we had non-farm productivity just out Q4. The final reading, it was a little worse than expected, up 1.8%. Traders were looking for a 2.2% rise, and then also just out was initial jobless claims for the week ended March 1st, coming in at 323,000. Economists were looking for 336,000 reading, so a little better than expected there. And Dennis, we did get the Kroger results just out.
Kroger.
Q4 adjusted EPS 78 cents on sales of 23.22 billion. Analysts on Kroger were looking for 72 cents on sales just over 23 billion. So a beat there. Had some guidance. Fiscal year EPS in the range of 314 to 325 out of Kroger.
Let's go Krogering here, Joel.
Oh my God, this thing looks like like
Rocket ship.
like an internet stock. Holy mac! Look
Look at it on a monthly.
Oh my God, what did people start like? I mean, I did see a lot of heavyset people on my trip. They must all be going to Kroger. Oh my gosh, we just ticked up here in the pre-market. Boom, boom. We got that pop up to 44.50.
Bid there right now. It just
It's
went
bid
bid
there,
there.
all-time high.
Should I smack it? You want me to smack it?
No, Dennis. This is it's momentum, Dennis. It's
All right,
40.
I won't smack it.
Former all-time high, 43.73. I just don't know what to say about this stock here.
I'm glad I didn't smack it because it's going 45 bid now. 45.14. Want me to smack the 45? I'm itchy. I'm itchy today, Joel.
I'd go out of 46. You'll probably get lifted here. What
You
about?
want me to throw 46? I'm not even.
I don't know.
If
Why?
it goes 46, should we throw 46?
Well, put it on.
We'll stop this momentum. We'll stop this momentum. It's track. It'll probably go 46. It'll be 48 bid before I even look.
But Dennis.
All right, I just threw 200 out of 46 just for fun. Only 200 shares though.
Okay, all
Light
right.
trade,
We gotta
light
take
trade.
a break here. I got.
Look at this bid guy, 44.80 coming up heavy.
I just got Joe out of a meeting here to bring on our special guest, Rachel Fox
Sorry.
from Fox on Stock. Oh, Fari. Oh, I'm sorry.
Joel, come on,
Don't
Fari.
forget about Fari.
Boy, I'll tell you this.
right,
I'm
I'm
still
scared
on the
of getting out of
Pacific.
Kroger.
How can I forget about? If I'm not awake now,
I'm too
I'll
scared
be.
on Kroger. I cancel my offer.
I'll be awake in a minute because we're gonna have Fari Hamzei on from Hamzei Analytics. We'll be right back. Welcome back, traders and investors. It's Thursday, and it's time for Fari Hamzei, Hamzei Analytics. Fari, welcome back. How you doing today?
Good morning, guys. I'm good. Dennis and Joel, it's always a pleasure with you guys.
Okay.
All right. I want to know if you woke up to the Bacon Senate alarm clock this morning.
I'd ordered a kosher version. It's not here yet.
Ari was tweeting out there last night. I was getting a good kick out of this. Oscar Mayer has created a device to turn your iPhone into a Bacon Senate alarm clock. I'm going to post it in the chat.
Fari,
That's what we call American ingenuity, my friend. That's what Europe doesn't have. Asia doesn't have. Who would have come up with that?
Bacon Senate alarm clock. iPhone turns into a Bacon Senate alarm clock. What will they think of next?
The Bacon Bowl. Have you guys seen the Bacon Bowl? On commercials, you like this thing, you wrap the bacon around it, and it would look okay until they put the macaroni and cheese in there. But anyway,
Please.
Fari, when we were talking to you last week, I believe you were talking about Sigma 3 and the S&Ps here, and you had it up around the 1880 level, and we're getting...
2 Sigma. No, 2 Sigma, 2.
Okay.
3 on the index is Mission Impossible on the upside.
Okay.
On the downside, we hit it the first day of last month, February 3rd. But the 2 Sigma was 1880. We're at 1874, I believe, as of last night.
Yeah,
and the market is up another $2 here. We gave back a little bit. Jobless claim came better. We're at 4.
So how do you
we're
play
almost
that?
there.
How do you play that? 2 Sigma? Are you looking to get out of some of your longs?
Well, now, hold on. This 2 Sigma now has moved. Remember, these are the beauty of Sigma channels is that it's self-adaptive, right? That means that it adjusts itself on the conditions of the road, so that you have to take a look at it now and see how we closed that. We closed yesterday on Wednesday at 1891. Okay, so it's still ahead of us.
Okay.
I do believe that's doable. We're going to be there. The question is, what's the catalyst? Now, I'm sure. I want to make sure you guys are sitting down here. Okay.
All right.
I've been hearing a few people that I watch, and they usually have kind of tested well and proved themselves to me and to others. Of course, not just me, but others also. 1930, 1940 numbers out there, my friend. So if people are out there looking at their charts and they're thinking 1930, 1940, I mean, in the near future, I'm talking about next, 2 to 5 to 10 days tops, somewhere in that small window. Yeah. Not out in the middle of Q2 or early Q3. No, I'm talking about, let's say, before the end of the month, 1930, 1940. 2 Sigma is just, it's just around the corner, my friend.
And what's the time frame on that?
Before end of the month.
Before the end of I'd say before the end of the month.
1930, 1940. That's. You think we can go there?
I mean, at the end, like if
how about it's just a friendly bet on the side?
Yeah, there you go. Joel likes to do those friendly bets, but you got to watch Joel because he doesn't pay. He'll
I have some Italian friends here in Chicago. They'll collect. Don't worry.
They'll collect.
They're ex-baseball players. How's that? At least in high school, they played baseball.
I have some bad bets that I can factor out to these guys.
There you go.
Too, so.
What do you got? What do you got on the radar for today? Then, if we're going to 1930, well, I know.
What's today? What's today, Joel?
What would today?
We're before NFP, pre-NFP, right? What do we do on pre-NFP? We have an interview with you in the morning. We take it a little bit easy during the day. We have a big webinar at 3:30 on Hamzei Analytics. And then we take it easy. Why? Because the big number is tomorrow.
Okay.
The only big thing today is ECB, and I'm sure by now they're done. So that's priced in, right? So today we should be a small range day. We've had a big one on Monday. We had a big one on Tuesday. Yesterday we slowed down to very small. That's why you probably saw me on Twitter saying, I can smell the sausage already. I said it at about almost 9 o'clock Chicago, 10 o'clock New York yesterday. And there we stood. I believe 2 bars, maybe 3. 3 bars yesterday. So total of 15, these are 5-minute bars. Total of 15 minutes yesterday. Our volatility band, it's a kind of modified little algo there. We call it CP cone, Center Error Probable, which comes from science of trajectories. When you drop a bomb from an airplane, where does it fall? That's called Center Error Probable. The probability of where you hit the target was only 3 bars. It was bigger than the initial balance of 6 handles. So yesterday we were sausage ops. Today I expect no difference. Unless your buddy and my buddy Vlad goes out there and does something else crazy in Crimea.
Right.
Other than that, should be very quiet. The action is tomorrow morning. pre-market. And probably by this time tomorrow, it's all settled.
Right, exactly,
Because
after the number.
Yeah, because it usually happens in the first 30 seconds, actually. You see high or low, and this is kind of the statistics we show this afternoon. You see high or low of tomorrow within 30 seconds of the number, normally.
Yeah, because all the volatility chopping, everybody gets their orders the hell out of there. There's no liquidity in there because everybody cancels because they don't know what the number is. So it really chops around on that news. The statistics are showing, I think, we've been up 14 out of the last 16 non-farm payroll days here, Fari. Are you looking for that trend to continue to go to 15 and 17 tomorrow?
Probably. I'll tell you why. And we look at some numbers toward the end of the day, and we try to stress on that. We have one group that comes in with their Excel package that's, they have cut it any different way that you can think of, and then some. It's a hedge operation. Typically, the problem we have is this Fed we have. It is very artificial. Now we're in Yellen put. This is the third put after Greenspan, Bernanke, and now Yellen put. In a sense that if it's bad news, Fed will be there. That's the problem in reacting properly. It is artificial. It should be on the upside again.
Do you follow the crude market?
Look what happened Monday, right? Look at Monday, right? We went down so hard.
Yeah.
And what was our ratio? Joel, I'm sorry, I'll be quick. And what was our volume ratio? The key thing we've talked about on down days, watch for a down to up volume ratio for NYC was 3.1. So, and then look at the shape of that bar, okay? That means we did a reversal intraday. Even the market itself didn't believe Putin will do this. He's going to slow down and reverse, and of course he did next day. So it's unfortunately we're on this hyped up free money out there that's pumping numbers up. Wish the economy was doing that.
I mean, this whole rally's been based on that, though. I mean, the last 300 S&P points or 400 S&P points, you could just say it's all QE, just pumping it up.
Right.
When does it stop? I don't know how they even stop it. Really, I know they're trying to now obviously cut back a little bit here on it, but are they ever going to cut it right out?
I'm not sure the powers to be are willing to face that yet. So, and they're hoping the econ numbers get there to a point where we will forget about QE, and I don't think the market forgets about anything. It gets somehow priced in its own appropriate way. They will slow it down. The numbers are going to get better slowly if we don't have any shock, okay? And especially, I think, as the oil and gas business gets better and better in the U.S. I mean, that's crucial, okay? The numbers will slowly, because jobs begets jobs and begets jobs. Numbers will slowly move up. I think the experiment becomes when the powers to be say, green light Auntie Jeanette and say, Jeanette, go ahead. Yeah, start pulling the levers again. The hedge funds won't like it because they've had a very kind of a cheap ride. Now they got to work for a living.
So, yeah, free ride.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you about, do you follow the crude market?
Not as a trader, but as a economic input, yes. I mean, in the sense that, probably once a week, twice a week, I'll look at his chart or make sure I peg it in my mind where the WTI is.
Okay, so it's not something you actively trade.
No, I don't. No, I don't. You know what? It does. I'm an engineering background. I'm an airplane guy, right? And double E work. What do we look at? Stream of contiguous, not discrete, but not contiguous. I'm saying continuous, not discrete. Anti-discrete. Series of data coming in from various points. Okay, so we can measure it like NYSE. For SPY and SPX, you have all these internals, advanced decline, up, down, trend, tick. And then you can start cutting it many, many different ways, depending what kind of noise reduction algorithms you put on it. What are you going to do for crude?
Right. Okay.
You got price and volume. That's all you have. A bunch of crazy guys in New York bidding it back and forth. Have you ever been to a crude pit at NYMEX?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It is crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It can only be only way it could be worse than that is the gold pit.
Exactly.
Those two are crazy. And with that kind of erratic trading, and also the good contract in crude is big. It's 40,000 barrels. That's a lot of move.
Right, it is.
Yeah, I'm too small. Yeah, I'm too small for that. I mean, that's who controls that, baby? Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs.
Right.
And hopefully, I mean, as another broker, as a participant, hopefully with the changes in the laws coming, we'll get the investment banks out of this business. They own a lot of pipelines, they own a lot of tankers, they own a lot of actual crude, either in tanks, the ground-based tanks, or offshore. And you know what? We need to get these guys back to banking. But right now, that is controlled by. And by the way, the biggest traders for get the biggest check in crude is working for those two firms, Morgan or Goldman.
Okay, so just to close things out here, trade people that are going into the number here. You're just saying, hey, the trend is up. We'll go with the trend. Some of your inside sources saying we could have a crazy move up to the 1930, 1940 level. So just for people that aren't into the trenches every day, you're sticking with the status quo and looking for this market just to grind higher.
Slowly, yes. And if you have to trade tomorrow's number on the future side, I beg all of you guys and urge all of you guys, including Fari Hamzei, to wait, get the number and digest it. Don't try to have your orders lined up and hit the press the moment number pops.
You can't.
Think about it a little bit. Usually the first or second swings are fake. They're head fakes.
Yeah. How long do you wait before you start jumping in there? Like a couple minutes after, 20 minutes
2
after?
seconds. 2 seconds.
2 seconds. So you're still
I'm a
going
degenerate gambler like everybody else. I mean, come on. After some point, we're all gamblers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look. I swear to you, I write these things to myself. Put it in front. Put it on my forehead. Put it on the wall in front of me. Remember to do this. Guess what? The moment that number, I don't know, the hand moves.
Okay. All right.
I'm just not a trader.
All right. We've had Fari Hamzei on Hamzei Analytics, giving us his outlook on the market as usual on Thursdays. Fari, thanks a lot. Have a good train day. We'll be looking for some of your tweets after the number, and I would, if you want to go on that 1940 bet, you say by the end of the month. Is that your time?
Before
frame?
end of the month, yeah.
I really can't take the other end of that one.
Come on, you're just scared because he's got those friends and they're gonna break your legs if you don't pay up.
Shoot, Dennis, I've been losing on the long side so much. I mean, to you, because usually when I do those bets, I'd say, 18 and a quarter versus 19 and a quarter right here, but. Man, oh man! I mean, this
is 18, but this is 18 3/4, right?
Yeah, now we're 18 and 3/4. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting this market. I'm tired. And Dennis, you still don't have the right strategy on. I told you that 1835 was going to be a major level, and you don't have me long here yet on a strangle. So
He wants to get long on a
strangle.
Yeah. So
well, on Monday, people were saying, here's the break we were talking about on the shorts, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And the more you see that, you know what's going to happen. Right. You're wondering, this is not working right. Now, there's another point. Put call ratios. I made a tweet yesterday or the day before. I'm not sure. I think it was not yesterday, not last night, because the night before. It was key. I said, look at the VIX put call. Because we look at different things. We look at bonds, we look at VIX, we look at also Apple as a good parameter of the stocks. But on a big part of Qs, I said, look at VIX. All of the VIX calls, VIX put call ratios, dollar weighted, were very, very bullish for VIX. And that's a pit trader instrument. Right. So mainly it's professionals. Not very little mom and pop in there. All the pros are long VIX calls. That usually doesn't happen. What is that telling you?
Market.
Everybody wants to fix the rise.
Yep.
Guess what's going to happen?
It won't. It won't. So, okay.
It won't,
All right.
Bob.
Anyways, Fari, we'll check in with you next
So,
week. Thanks for checking in with us, and have a good trading day.
always a pleasure with you, to be with you guys.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Fari.
Bye-bye. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's been bullish and he's staying bullish.
He's been
Dennis.
right. He's
Yep.
been right.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been
Can't
right.
argue with him. He's been right for a long time here. Let's look at some pre-market imbalances here, Joel. They are mixed this morning. I'm just looking here. Like I said, before I left on the trip, it seems like every day General Electric has a buy imbalance. Same thing this morning, 179,000 shares to buy here. But this one's opening up into some key resistance. $26 has 196,000 shares to sell. So basically 200,000 sitting at the point. That's going to be the level that it might open. I think it's probably going to open at 26. Maybe it takes it out early, and maybe it does the whole, I'll go up to 26.10, everybody buy the breakout, and maybe fade that. What do you think?
25.96 was the high in yesterday's session. And if you go back a few trading sessions ago, you open up 26.04 was the high on February 18th. And then during the earnings blitz, you had a high at 25.98. So it is. I mean, I wouldn't fall in love with it here. I definitely would not be buying this thing over 26 on the first attempt. If you are shorting it and you can get it above the 26 or at $26 level, just keep in mind that yesterday's close was 25.93. So if you're going to trade it for some size, I mean, don't fall in love with this. If it doesn't open up above 26, doesn't come back in under 25.93 and continue to go south, then could rise back up to that $26 level. But hey, all those buying balances that they were buying the stock, I mean, that was right around the 25 and a quarter.
They've been
level.
working.
Yeah. So it's been working. So it's good. It's good to look at those imbalances on the shorter term time frame if you're trying to do a time trade, a day trade. But it's also good to keep it in the perspective of what an institution is doing, or a series of institutions. They want to buy, maybe their algo wants to buy 1 million shares of the stock. They want to do it on the open, 4 days in a row, 250,000 shares each. There are trading patterns like that, so it's something to keep an eye on long term and short term.
Pfizer with a little sell imbalance here. I just want to talk about Pfizer. Big number at the whole number. Yesterday's high got up to 32.95. Wow. Somebody's sitting for 600,000 shares at the point, up there at $33. So obviously in the 32.90s here, there's going to be major resistance again, because that is just a huge number for every high-frequency trader, for every opportunistic short-term trader to lean on. That's what they'll be doing, is leaning in that area. So I think resistance up in the 32.90s. There was a sell imbalance this morning here on Pfizer of 96,000 shares, so it might open down just a little bit here. But if for whatever reason it starts to climb the wall of, the drug wall that they all keep climbing, these drug stocks been on fire, I think there's some resistance up there in 32.90s.
Yeah, you might be able to pick this one up on the cheap too. 32.70, 75 close, trading down in the pre-market a little bit. Someone leaning on that sell imbalance. You're buying it here in the 32.60 area. You have yesterday's low at 32.60 to lean on. Pfizer trading at its highest level. You ready for this one, Dennis? Take a guess. When do you think?
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, back in August of 2004, you made a 32.73 high.
10-year highs.
Yeah, 10-year high for the issue. And the high in July of that month was 34.46. So getting a little vacuum area here. Support at 32.60, resistance at 33.
Looking at just a few other imbalances here. You've got ExxonMobil with a sell imbalance again here this morning. It's trading down just a little bit, 36,000 shares to sell on that stock. Verizon and AT&T both have buy imbalances, but here's an interesting setup. I actually had a real good trade on Verizon there yesterday. It had a buy imbalance for a lot of the pre-market, but it was trading down. So obviously some institutions buying, and they're separate, but the market kind of wants it to go down. So I'm looking at this as maybe the same setup here again, where maybe it opens a little bit too high and give you an opportunity to maybe short on the New York Open, and because the pre-market is trying to push the stock lower. So if this thing opens up 47.40 or 47, even 37 or 38, close to flat, I think there might be some selling pressure after the open.
Still, these things are still like I'm looking at the AT&T as well as this. I mean, they're not
Dead
just
money.
yeah, they're just not buying these dogs, man. They
Nope.
are just
No.
not. I mean, AT&T, you got a double top here, 32.22, 32.24. I mean, this thing is only 40 cents off its low of the move at 31.76 here. So people are just dumping. They're not looking for the 3, 4, 5% dividend yields. They're looking for the much better returns, and here's an example of that. AT&T, you gotta respect that resistance, 32.22 to 32.24.
Also here, just looking to look, $32 even on AT&T is 175,000 shares to buy down there. So maybe some institution that missed the double bottom that I put in there 3 days ago is stepping up a little bit here. So might see a little bit of initial support just above $32. But yesterday was some weakness there, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see some follow through weakness in these things today. Joel, any other thoughts on the S&P before we go grab Rachel?
No, I think you have to, just keep in mind, we are trading the unemployment number tomorrow here, as Fari said. Keep an eye on the pre-market high, 1877.75. Pre-market low, we're still $5 away from there. So just gonna probably float, maybe touch that 1880 level, and maybe people take a little bit of profit taking ahead of the number. But we're gonna take another quick break, and we're gonna bring on a actress, singer, and musician, and also a trader, Rachel Fox. Stock. That's a tongue twister. Fox on Stocks. We'll be right back.
Cam,
Welcome
Davey.
back, traders and investors. Just is another incident where I can't go on vacation here, and I come back and we have a little scheduling mishap, so we're gonna have Rachel on.
Just
We'll try
full
and get her.
disclosure, it's all Joel's fault.
Yeah, it's all Joe's fault. I just got back. I was on vacation with my wife and two daughters, and everything was my fault there. And I have to come. I was looking for a little bit of a reprieve here, coming back to the office, and now it's like, I don't know.
Well, you didn't even bring us bagels or anything like that. When
I
you
was
came in
scrambling,
today.
man. Got out of bed at like 7:05. I had to hop in the shower. But anyways, Colts luck. We've ignored Colts luck here. He's has some stocks that he wants us to cover. AKAM. I haven't been following. What's that? Akamai.
Akamai.
Akamai. So let's take a look at that one. Dennis, you familiar with that one at all?
Yeah, I watch it a little bit here. It's getting bid up just slightly in the pre-market, obviously, with fair value here. 61.60, 61.51 is where it went out. But look at the technicals on this one, Joel.
Ooh.
We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 highs. Nice run, nice gap and go there back in early February. And we've just been consolidating here above 60, between 60 and 63 for the better part of February. Eventually, if we can start getting above that whole 62, 74, 63, 15 area, then it would be in breakout mode. But until that, it's kind of just in the middle here of a trading range.
Yeah, it looks a little tired here. Closed right on the low of the day, and I kind of like those kind of trades because if it doesn't, it close on the low. If it doesn't hold there, okay. If it doesn't hold that 61.50, I see no support here until this. I see a close at 61.26 here, but you have a 3-day low at 60.01 here. So, boy, oh boy, if you're holding on to this long side Colts luck, you better hope your luck stays and this holds 61.50. And then the other issue that he was talking about here. What's the second one, Dennis?
I've got to scroll back up in the chat here. Actually, he was throwing 4 or 5 at us here, so we'll try to get as many as we can. Oh, BlackBerry. Well, we'll talk about BlackBerry.
Oh, yeah. All right, I haven't seen BlackBerry. I haven't looked at this since I left. I'm going to say...
$10. $10.
$10,
is holding
really?
well.
Huh. It sprinted over 10, though, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But I'm looking, that's what jumps out at. I always look at the chart in the first second. This is kind of how I do when I'm looking at the dailies. I look at it and what level jumps out to me just off the bat. Like before, maybe I'm thinking $10 before I look at the chart. But if you look, we obviously took off early January, cut back through, but then we were struggling to get over 10 there in early February, struggling, broke out over it, kind of came out, took it out, probably shook a few people out that were leaning on the 10 area with that 966 low. Came back up again, obviously, and now we've come back to retest 10. As long as the stock stays above $10, maybe the short squeeze in this one continues as well.
Yeah, 10.05 low, 10.10 close enough to that $10 level. Tight range yesterday, so sellers are stepping down off that. Had a bunch of highs between 10.70 and 10.90. People leaning on perhaps on like a trillion to sell at 11 here. Minor resistance though, 1026 could float up to the higher 10s. Below 10, you see a 995 low, but that was taken out. You had a 966 low. So BlackBerry, I like that. I agree with you. $10 number. Josh just popped in with JCP. We talked about that earlier. Wow, what a run this thing has had. Dennis, are you trading the stock today?
Probably not, actually. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere here. I do think eventually it might make a run and try to test $9. That's the area I'm kind of itching to probably try to put on a short up there because that's the area we struggled with in late December. We got up over 9 a few times. Couldn't hold, eventually did break down from that area. So I think if you get back up to 9, I think you'll find some people itching to sell there. But we're like 60, 70 cents away from there. A lot of air above, with the 60, 70 cents away. A lot of air below because we were $7 3 days ago. So there's a lot of risk here. And it's the levels just aren't hard enough for me to really make
they
a
are.
trade.
It's floating here. You got a gap.
Float.
Yeah, you got 2 gaps to fill, but the first one's between 799 and 824. You started to chew into that yesterday. Got an 812 low, so I think it's going to be pretty well bid, even if you get below that 812 down to fill the gap at the 799 level. Coming back on the upside, you can't call it a double top yet. It's still 15 cents away, but 1852 was a high, 1867. That coincides with the high you had at 872. That's your major resistance. Let it bounce around in there for a couple days here. Pretty wide range, though, for a cheap stock here. And now,
Go to
Jake.
Pandora
Okay,
because
Pandora.
yeah,
Okay.
we've got J Dot asking about Pandora, and actually they did break news here just this morning at
What you got, Brent?
8:35,
What you
right
got?
before Fari came on. Brent,
They gave their monthly listener numbers. So for February, total listener hours were up 9% to 1.51 billion. The share of U.S. radio listening hours was 8.91%.
Okay, and that wasn't what they were looking for?
Let me see if I got some
apparently
estimates
not because it's
here.
down $1.50.
uh, stock has
Price
had,
don't lie.
yeah, stock's had an incredible run, but got to pull back here. 37.56 wasn't low in the pre-market. You can't really sniff it. They laugh at the volume here. Some shares are going off pretty well under this $38 level, 38.23. If get a bounce up to there, that was your 2-day low. That's some resistance. Coming back on the downside here, boy, there's just not a lot to lean on in the 37 handle. Double bottom, 36.53 to 36.79. Call that the whole 35, 65, 66 area. That would be your major support. And you got a long way to get up to yesterday's low at 39 even.
Also, we got Violin Maker popping in with SFUN, Sofin Holdings. That stock has been on an absolute tear for the last 2 days. It was $80 2 days ago. It closed at $93.77 yesterday. It's trading up over $94 here today. Stock got up to $95.39 on the 22nd, got up to $96.23 here yesterday. Joel's just making a run for 100.
Did you say S? What is it?
Simon, Frank, Union, Nancy.
Oh, ADR here, huh? Dang.
Yeah, I never loved trading the ADRs either, but this one's a wild child. It has been flying.
Nice breakout here. Violin Maker, 96.23 was yesterday's high. Settled, wow, some huge ranges in this and also monster volume yesterday. I mean, if I was holding this thing and it got, I like to see it hold the close here at 93.77. Doesn't hold the close 93.77. I mean, there's just no number in there. Down to 84.50, 84.55. Only a nickel gap there. 96.23. You got to figure after hitting 96.23 and then falling back a couple bucks here, some 96. I would use the half and whole numbers here if you're looking to scale out of position. 95 and a half, 96, and then 96.23 is the I believe the all-time high for the issue. And just one more here, and I can't say I know much about this stock, but it's PXLW.
Pixelworks. It is flying here this morning too. You've got actually a headline from the Benzinga Pro at 7:30 this morning. Pixelworks shares rise 29% pre-market as the company reports sales to Apple represented more than 10% of revenue in 2013. So they're selling products to Apple, and this stock is now associated with Apple, and it is getting the Apple pop up to here to new highs.
What do you think of this one, Dennis?
Holy cows,
yeah.
it's overdone.
Wow. I tell you, back in, I just made a pre-market high of 685, and now you're getting up to a level that it saw, way above a level that you saw earlier in the year at 642 here. So I'd call that 642 up to the 685 a sell zone here, just because of the way it's, it popping back up here. Haven't traded up at these levels since February. Back in February 2007, you traded up to 745. So, I'd like to see it get above that pre-market high, but a lot of times a small stock like this, getting a pop-up, people might use the opportunity to take some profits. So, well, Dennis, thanks for staying on. Things will go smoother tomorrow because I'm going to crack the whip here, get these guys back in shape. So get ready for the Open, and we're going to move on to Mighty Joe Young with the morning headlines.
Well, it won't be all sunshine and butterflies for you tomorrow, Joel, because I won't be here, or Monday. So I look forward to listening into the show to hear you deal with that. I
You-
imagine it'll probably start about 8:20, 8:30 tomorrow.
We're going to have Chubbs sitting in there, and I'm sure everything will go smoothly.
I mean, handsome face and nice voice Shubs might have, but I don't think I've amply prepared him to deal with your
Shenanigans.
geriatrics.
Oh, okay. On that note, we'll go to the morning headlines.
And today's editorial headlines from around the globe: the Central Intelligence Agency, otherwise known as the CIA, is under investigation for allegedly spying on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Panel chairwoman Dianne Feinstein confirmed Wednesday. The CIA is prohibited from spying on Americans, and spying on members of Congress and their staff would raise particular concerns about the separation of powers. Congress created the House and Senate Intelligence Committees in the 1970s to oversee the CIA, the National Security Agency, and other spy agencies after uncovering a slew of spying abuses. The CIA's internal watchdog, its Inspector General, is reviewing whether CIA agents hacked into the computers of Senate staffers who were involved in producing a report critical of the agency's now defunct detention and interrogation program. The New York Times reported on Wednesday. According to McClatchy, the Inspector General's office has asked the Justice Department to investigate the case. Staples, the largest office supply chain, will close as many as 225 stores in North America and reduce costs by as much as $500 million by the end of 2015, as it forecasts sales to drop for a fifth consecutive quarter. The savings are expected to come from supply chain, retail store closures, and measures including labor optimization, non-product related costs, IT hardware and services, marketing, sales force, and customer service, the Framingham, Massachusetts-based company said in a statement today. Staples is facing increased competition from online retailers, including Amazon. Revenue in its fiscal first quarter will fall from a year earlier, excluding any potential impact from its restructuring plan, the retailer said today, without providing a projection. For the past decade or so, the best defense Getty Images could find against the right-click button on your mouse, home of the copy and save functions, has been a team of lawyers. By copying one of its images and using it on your blog, you're entering a random drawing where the prize is a terrifying letter offering a tutorial in copyright litigation. But this week, the photography company is embarking on a different strategy. Anyone can now visit its website, grab some embed code, and display an image on blogs or Facebook pages without paying a licensing fee. As a technological feat, of course, embeddable media is unremarkable. Yet it marks an unlikely pivot for Getty, which makes its money selling permission to use photos from its vast library of work from more than 150,000 individuals, stock photo agencies, and media organizations. Creating an embedding tool is a tacit acknowledgement that Getty simply can't police the use of its images to the four corners of the internet, Business Week says. The next war among smartphone makers will most likely be around health measurement, and the Wello is an iPhone accessory that recognizes that and wants to capitalize early. It offers iPhone users a heart rate monitor on their device, just like Samsung has built into the Galaxy S5, but also offers up a lot more besides, including sensors to measure your ECG, blood pressure, blood oxygen, temperature, and more. It does this using a special chip embedded in the thin case and two sensors that you touch with your fingers on the back of the case. This provides a snapshot of your health at any given time, which offers up the information above, as well as additional information around how stressed you are at any given time. The battery in the case itself is good for 2 months on a single charge, and the app supports multiple user profiles, so it can work for your whole family. The Wello is up for pre-order now for $199 in the US and is expected to ship this fall, though it needs to secure FDA approval first, as it is being marketed as a medical device. Digital magazine platform Flipboard has snagged competing service Zeit from CNN for an undisclosed amount. The company is produced via a joint or announced via a joint conference call today. CNN bought Zeit way back in 2011 for a rumored $20 million and kept the service alive as a standalone way to discover and read a customized mix of news content from a variety of sources. CNN launched online news product CNN Trends through Zeit, but has otherwise done little with the company. While financial terms of the Zeit sale weren't disclosed, CNN Money is reporting that the deal was worth $60 million, despite company officials denying that figure. On the conference call, CNN declined to share Zeit's total active user numbers, saying only that the figure was a lot smaller than Flipboard's. Zeit's main appeal is its technology, which is focused on curating news you care about from sources you like, all of which will eventually get integrated into Flipboard. And another member of state-funded Russia Today made waves on Wednesday, but not by standing behind Moscow as the news network is wont to do. I don't get it. It is.
That's a word.
It
Won't.
well, won't, but as the news network is wont to do. I'm not sure if
That-
I've heard that turn of phrase before.
I think that makes sense. Is intending to do or is
I guess
uh,
Brent. I guess Brent
has a
does too.
tendency to do. I think that might be the.
That's how I would word it, absolutely. From the anchor chair, Liz Wall closed a show, as seen in video, which she later tweeted, talking about the ethical and moral challenges she faces working for Russia Today, also known as RT. She spoke of being from a family who fled to America to escape Soviet forces during the 1956 Hungarian Revolution, being a daughter of a U.S. military veteran and being the partner of a physician who works at a U.S. military base. And that is why, personally, I cannot be part of a network funded by the Russian government that whitewashes the acts of Putin, Wall said. I'm proud to be an American and believe in disseminating the truth, she added. In a statement, RT said, when a journalist disagrees with the editorial position of his or her organization, the usual course of action is to address those grievances with the editor, and if they cannot be resolved, to quit like a professional. But when someone makes a big public show of a personal decision, it is nothing more than a self-promotional stunt, said the network. Chipotle says it may stop selling guacamole, at least temporarily, as the Mexican menu fast food chain grapples with an avocado shortage it blames partly on climate change. But a company spokesman says not to read too much into a statement given to regulators. In dry language, the Security and Exchange Commission filing in February doles out a climate-connected scenario dubbed guacapocalypse by some. Brent liked that one. The company was more conversational and direct in spreading the word Wednesday afternoon that customers shouldn't worry. This is a non-issue, spokesman Chris Arnold told USA Today. The sky is not falling. And that wraps it up for the headlines. Today's trivia tidbit on this day in 1900 is it Gottlieb Daimler, the German engineer, dies at the age of 65. In 1890, Daimler co-founded Daimler Motoren Gesellschaft to make automobiles and engines for a variety of vehicles, including boats and trolleys. Ironically, Daimler himself reportedly had little interest in driving. Today's trivia question, what was Daimler's unique contribution to the automobile? And the answer is not Mercedes. Does anyone have an idea of what Gottlieb Daimler's unique contribution to the automobile was? Any engineer buffs in the news desk here in the chat room, perhaps? It's really interesting. Good guess, Jake.
Muffler?
Good guess, Joel.
I'm
Kurt?
gonna guess the passenger and driver side AC climate controls.
I mean, a perfectly reasonable assumption for 1900.
Yeah, Brent. There you go. And also internet radio.
Internet, yeah, that's right. How about active passenger safety restraints? Kurt, do you have a guess? The wheel. I'm pretty sure the wheels started coming about like with trains and wagons and stuff, not cars. The answer, oh, there's Fernando popping into the chat with the correct answer. Gottlieb Daimler's unique contribution to the automobile was an early version of the internal combustion engine.
Hey, they teach that stuff at Harvard.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So good job, Fernando. You just won a lifetime subscription to Benzinga Pro. I hope that you enjoy it and use it well. Live long and prosper, my friend, you red wine drinking Spaniard. That being said, just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, the show would not be possible without our dear friends at Options House that will give you 150 commission-free trades for signing up for an account through this page. There's buttons at the top, at the bottom right. Fernando will personally thank you. He says he did his undergrad at U of M. That's where he learned about the internal combustion engine. So go ahead, click on through, open an Options House account, get those 150 commission-free trades. That is no small number. And all because you listen to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, you get those for free. So that wraps it up for me. I imagine who wants to
Joe, what are you
step up
doing?
here?
Why what are you doing? Why are you going away? Why are you leaving us?
You know, Joel, I am flying to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to meet up with some friends, and we're going to Massanutten, Virginia to go skiing. And I know everyone looks at you sideways. Why would you go to Virginia to go skiing? But Jake over here is the only person that had ever heard of Massanutten before that I've been telling. So we're going skiing this weekend, and then we're going to spend some time in Washington, D.C. Dina has never been for more than an hour, and maybe we'll see Frank Underwood. No?
Is Massanutten like a mountain?
You know what? I'm going to look it up on Wikipedia right now.
Gotcha.
All right, what's going on here, Brent? Breaking
hold
news.
on.
Okay.
Joe's got
Massanutten,
more.
Joe, I mean-
You asked for it, Joel.
You
Well,
asked
I mean,
for it.
What?
Is a census-designated place in Rockingham County, Virginia, built around a ski resort.
Gotcha.
Boom. That's the whole reason for going, is to ski.
So the Telluride of the East Coast, if you will.
Absolutely.
Nice.
All right, Brent, you wanna take it away?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Brent is finally up to date on
What?
True Detective, ladies and gentlemen. By the
Oh,
way,
wow.
so
Is
no
that
more
a-
support.
Is
group.
that on Netflix?
No, it's on HBO right now. I'm sure it will be on Netflix at some time or other, but great show. I'd recommend everyone tune into that if they have HBO. I'm going to hit you with some of the top upgrades, downgrades that we got going on this morning. We did talk about a few of them, but I'm just going to review them here really quickly. So some of the top upgrades: Argus upgrading shares of Anadarko from hold to buy. Lee Rink Partners, I'd let everyone know. Previously Lee Rink Swan, they just changed their name. Made sure all the sources out there knew that it was indeed Lee Rink Partners. Lee Rink Partners upgrading shares of Teva this morning from market perform to outperform. Biogen getting an upgrade this morning over at BMO. BMO upgrading the stock to outperform. We do have an upgrade on shares of Bob Evans at Miller Tabak following results earlier this week. Citigroup upgrading shares of Tiffany's this morning. This might be one we want to take a look at, Joel. I'm not sure if you or Dennis chatted about this upgrade, but Citigroup upgrading Tiffany shares from neutral to buy this morning. We are up about 2%. That's almost $2.
Tiffany's, whoa, here trading night. Well, here's one retailer that is nothing to laugh at here.
Right.
Making a new all-time high here. Just traded 95 in the pre-market. That's the high. That's the all-time high. Busting above the previous all-time high here on the dailies. Oh boy, 93.95 here. So let's hold that $95 level and keep on going. Doesn't hold 95. We got a stick and a half to drop until 93.51, which was yesterday's high here. So, and this is just an upgrade by Citigroup.
I've not been able to find anything else, and I actually have not dug into that city upgrade yet, but I am going to do that after we get off the show here.
I mean, it's just an upgrade. It's not like an earnings thing or anything. So be hesitant if this doesn't hold 95 here. Look out below.
So the last top upgrade this morning, Yum shares upgraded from neutral to outperform at Baird this morning. Believe the firm also boosted the price target on shares of Yum, raising the price target from $79 to $87. Where's Yum trading right now, Joe? I haven't been tracking that one recently.
Yum. Did it take a hit? It took a hit. Ooh, nice rally back here. Spike in the pre-market over 76, 76.40. That seems a little excessive to me. Nearly double exact ranges on Tuesday and Wednesday here. So comes back down to the $75 level. I expect support. The current high in the pre-market, boy, that really doesn't coincide with anything at 76.4. Yeah, it does. 76.53. That was the high on January 9th. So look at that as your first resistance level. Above that, you got a perfect double top at 77.21 and 77.33. So JDOT just popped in here. Where's this thing here on Plug? And it's look at 9:50 breaking on the Benzinga News Pro here. Plug shows registered to sell 3.73 million shares. Got an update on that, Brent?
Absolutely. Actually, just not even 30 seconds ago, get an update on that. They did price it at $5.74 per share. So once again, that's 3.9 million shares at $5.74 per share. That is a total at around $22.5 million. And Joel, with the action in this stock, it'd be stupid not to do an offering, right? Am I right?
Exactly. Absolutely. Ring the cash register, man. And that's exactly what they're doing. Now, what Dennis likes to look at is the exact price on something like that. And that's, 574. The fact that they can't take it back down, because usually those levels act as a magnet, and not so in this case here. Spiked down to 631 and getting a bounce back up here. So, people are protecting that level. Looks like they're giving, even though it's good for the company here, it looks like they're trying to give some of these shareholders a bargain here. Still, keep an eye on that 574 over the next couple days. I mean, can they? Is that a fixed price there, or is that?
The offering did go through, so I believe that is.
Okay.
Yep, they sold them already. It already happened.
Okay. All right. Well, someone got a deal there. Here took some profits. Oh, and that's the opening bell here, and the S&Ps are opening up right at their highs here. 1878 was the high in the pre-market. Trying to hit that in the regular session here. I've only hit 7750 here. So we're keeping an eye on that pre-market high here for the first few minutes and see if we can bust through that level. Brent, what else did you got for us?
I was gonna have you take a look at shares of eBay. I don't know if you've been following this while you're gone, Joel, but Carl Icahn has issued. I'm just going off the top of my head, but I want to say 4 or 5 separate letters to eBay holders, and he does use that website that he recently created. It is shareholderssquaretable.com. That's where you can find all of Carl Icahn's open letters, and he hasn't been saying very much of anything new in each of these letters. Kind of just hammering home what he's been saying, the case on eBay for a while. So just like to see a quick update on some of the price action in eBay recently, Joel.
Joe, have you been able to schedule Carl to come on the show?
Carl Icahn?
Yeah.
He said something about listening to the show, and the guy named Joel, his voice was just too obnoxious. He couldn't handle it. So, but Bill Ackman, on the other hand, though, also hasn't been scheduled for the show. So I just thought I'd put that.
Yeah, I bet you his phone's just ringing off the hook. Maybe we'll get them both on and do a little point counterpoint.
I'd rather have Carl here in the office, though, to do the show. Wouldn't that be more exciting? He'll probably buy us lunch.
Okay. I'm looking at this eBay here, and I'm looking at the daily charts, and just tight range yesterday. Just holding major support here. Last 3 low, or including today's session, 58.75, 58.80, and 58.86. Kind of closed weak yesterday, but held that level. We're bouncing up. The highest close of this recent move, and I believe it's the all-time high close, is 59.06. We are trading above that level. Would like to see it hold that level, keep going back up to the all-time high of 59.70. Coming back on the downside, if we do take out that 58.75 level, there's some room on the downside. And Jared, I don't know. I don't know why they're so mean to me. It's probably because I'm so smart and good looking.
Who's they? I don't
Yeah,
know
actually-
if I don't know about this.
Actually,
Jared.
it's just Joe. It's just
Yeah,
Joe.
I don't wanna
It's
be
not
clumped
Kirk,
into this.
and it's not Chubbs, and it's not Brent, not Jake, and no, it's just you, Joe. So it's not they.
Just me. What did I miss?
Jared wants
Jared
to know why
popping
you're
in.
so mean to me.
Jared, if you knew Joel, you would understand.
Jared just setting
This
up
is
a
why
softball
his wife
for
and daughters
Joe.
gang up on him too, because he's such an easy target. Also, a new note from Carl Icahn. He said it'll only come on if we talk about Gilead Sciences.
Oh, okay. Where's the Giller? We haven't talked about that one in a while here. Just hanging out. Oh, Joe, if you're day trading this, keep an eye on this 83.44 level here. Last 3 highs, 83.42, 83.44, 83.36, trading at 83.34. Woohoo, Joe, you break above this 83.34 level, and you got some room. This Gilead's done this before, Joe, though, when we talked about it.
When was the last time we talked about it? It's been a few weeks. What has it done in the last few weeks?
Well, they pounded it off earnings. Remember that? They
Mhm.
came out with good earnings and they pounded
Well,
it.
they
on-
always come out with good earnings, though.
Yeah,
I
they
wonder how
pound.
many consecutive quarters we're at now where they just like knock it out of the park.
Right, and but look, I mean, this thing is, for a higher price stock, it is pretty technical. And I remember when I think we were talking about this one with Violin Maker, and that $75 level. Remember that at the end of last year and the beginning of
Oh,
January,
mama.
just kept on hitting its head, hitting its head, hitting its head. Boom, boom, boom. Finally broke out above there, but now you're getting a similar. Oh, look at that! Joe shorted at 83.40 when I told it that, and he's going to bring it in under $83. Probably bring it in under at the close at 82.
Well, what was the high we've hit so far in 2014? Because
Eh.
in December 2012, when they split, I think it was at about 90, 91, maybe.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you think there's another opportunity for that if they hit the 90
Joe
level again?
never got in the 90s.
No?
No. You're thinking 84, 88.
In 2012, late 2012.
Oh, 2012.
When they split, I was trying to remember the price when they split.
Oh, look at Joe going back to the pre-adjusted split prices of
But the
Potel.
high in 2014, you're saying right now, has
Yeah.
been 84.
Oh, Joe, that's also a good strategy. To use if you're that bullish on a stock that it splits 2-for-1s going back to that level there.
I mean, 10 for 1 wouldn't be bad either.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. But is that the GLD or did you just put Gilead in there? Did you want to talk about?
What you guys were just talking about Gilead,
It's
right?
Yeah,
GILD.
boy, I
Joel.
forgot.
See, Joel's not wearing his glasses.
I am
See,
not,
Once
you know.
again, easy target. It's very easy to make fun
You know
of someone
what?
that can't
It's thing
read.
with these. I have these reading glasses, and I was reading on that long flight, and it's like the more I use my reading glasses, the weaker my eyes get. Man, I just don't need those
I don't think
things.
it works like that. I think it's the older you get, the weaker your eyes.
But I
get.
could see those numbers coming up on the craps table, and there wasn't a lot of sevens coming up there when I was in Vegas, only on the come out roll. So I couldn't quite pay for the trip, but definitely, you can't call it lost wages for me. I definitely got lucky there. But Brent, what else do we got going on? Are we gonna try and roll Jake in here today?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'm pretty much done with my news here. I just wanted to give a quick highlight for some of the guests tomorrow. Joe, are the guests that are on?
Well, I wouldn't go too. I wouldn't
whoa,
jump
whoa.
to the gun on that
Why not?
because we don't know. We have a scheduling.
Joe,
schedule.
So wait,
everything-
are we talking about tomorrow, Brent? or-
Everything is planned as scheduled for tomorrow. This is correct.
Well, it's Friday, so it's Joe
Friday,
Gets Day.
so
you
we
know
get
that.
the social market
and then
analytics.
I also rescheduled Serge Berger, the steady trader, for Friday since we didn't get him on Tuesday or whichever day that was. So yeah, tomorrow we've got Joe Gets social market analytics and Serge Berger, steady trader, talking about his new product launch next week.
Okay, let's go to Shaky Jake with his winning chart formation of the day segment. Jake, what do you got for us?
Welcome back, Joel. Amazing. You made it back from Vegas all in one piece. Doesn't look like they pulled you into any of the cages there and gave you a talking to or anything.
No.
So your strategy must have worked out.
You know what though? I will tell you, and not that this is like a big casino that I like to go to, but you know where I made most of my money? Hooters.
Really?
Yeah. And the only reason I went there is because it was like the closest one to our hotel, and I didn't have to deal with all the ambulances going up and down the strip there.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. But Jake, what do you got for us?
Well, looking at some of the stocks moving this morning, one was actually Carnival, Charlie Lima. Company had 36 customers on its that cruise ship that failed out in the middle of the ocean. That was called the Triumph, ironically enough, and 36 customers from that ship have filed a lawsuit against the company, basically saying that some of the medical effects, or I guess symptoms they've been experiencing since they've been trying to attribute it to the poor conditions on the ship. So earlier it was pulling the stock down about 1.6%. I haven't checked in on it recently, but we did see some weakness earlier on in the session in Carnival. Probably linked to that news. I mean, that's not necessarily a huge driver, but we are keeping an eye on that.
Boy, this thing has had a pretty rough period here. It got way over the $40 level. This was got the 41.89. That might have been on earnings. We pulled back here. We had a low at 38.50. That's going back on the third. Hit 38.61. That also coincides with another low. You had a 38.60. for you CCL holders here. Doesn't look like this 38.60 is going to hold. After that, you could easily see the $38 level. 37.96 was low on February 3rd.
We'll take a look at Plug Power, one of those fuel cell companies. Just Plug is the ticker. It was down roughly 2% earlier this morning, just giving us a little bit of a pullback. I mean, it's had a 37% rally in the last 4 or 5 sessions. It is now down 6.2%. Absolutely dropping. Really got gapping down at the open. So this is pretty crazy.
Yeah, they figured, hey, the company's selling stock. They want to sell stock here as well. Opened up let's see here. You got to open at 645, and you got a little pop above that. Kind of pressuring down here. You got a low yesterday you've taken out yesterday's low at 645. Currently trading 631. Key level for this stock, 624. That was your low on Tuesday. It looked like we could be there quickly. Below that, folks, we could be starting to get into some of that gap area down to 583. And also, let's just keep that 574 level here. The company made a stake there, made a sell there. Let's see if that was a good level.
Yeah, so I mean, another one that's moving to the downside is Ballard Power Systems. They're down a little over 4%. Maybe going to test that $5 level. They're dipping as well. As BLDP is the ticker there. I know that Dennis has been really looking at that one over the last couple of days. So keeping an eye on them, as well as F Cell, which is Fuel Cell Energy. I was watching them. They're down over 7% now. And that's below the $3 level. So kind of broke through that whole number. So a lot of weakness in the fuel cell sector in general today.
Yeah, 505 was the low. Let's see that you had 506 was a low yesterday. You've traded 505. Needs to hold that $5 level. If not, you could be looking under $5. The 3-day low at 465.
Well, some of the other ones I was kind of taking a look at, SGMO, Sagana Biosciences. They got a Sangamo, not Sagamo, sorry. So they're up over 16% this morning on a big FDA approval there. Announcement of the first in-man study of genome editing. So I guess they're actually going to edit the human genome to see if that can fix genetic diseases. Absolutely crazy stuff.
Wow, you sound real. Did you get smart when I left, or what?
Yeah, I actually read a whole book, and that obviously tripled the amount I've read. So there we go.
Did you get that from your dad? Because your dad's a smart doctor. Did you just get that?
You know what? Yeah, all my biotech news, my dad just kind of emails me. He's like, "Hey, talk about this one. Talk about this one."
Well, they really got carried away in the pre-market on this on some decent volume. Got up to 26.98 here, but in the regular session, 22.98 open, pop up to 23.50 here. So pretty steep decline off the open here. 70 cents away from the high here, under the 22.55 level. Good support should be at 19.21 to 19.65. Those were the two highs where the stocks broke out from, so a long way to fill the gap. Unfortunately for you shorts, it's not going to be there, real quickly because of people that were shorting in the pre-market and also shorting earlier in the session.
Well, I guess we should probably take a look at some of the earnings plays from this morning, including Kroger, which is Kilo Romeo. EPS came in at 78 cents versus 72 cents estimate. Revenues came in at $23.22 billion versus expected $22.67 billion. Let's see if I can pull up any guidance for you guys. They did release some guidance, fiscal year 2014, $3.14 to $3.25. So that's what we're looking at for Kroger right now. Nice beat on the bottom line there, and a beat on the top line as well.
Yeah, should have known 46 was going to be the high because that's where Dennis pulled his offer from. Got up to 46 in the pre-market. Not quite the regular session, same activity here. Opened up at 44.87. 44.80, hit a 44.87 high and sold off a quick 50 cents here. So I'd have to imagine 44, even if you get above that 44.87 up to the $45 level, I expect pretty good resistance. New all-time highs here for Kroger.
Another one I'm taking a look at is Costco. They reported Q2 earnings this morning of $1.05 versus $1.17 expected. Revenues came in at 25.76 billion versus expected 26.67 billion. So a miss on the top and a pretty significant miss on the bottom line for Costco there. Charlie Oscar, Sandy Tango for anyone that's on their own charts there. No guidance yet, but we're kind of watching out for that. So maybe selling pallets of chewing gum isn't working out anymore.
112.01 was your pre-market low. 112.27 in this in the regular session. You did have a high or a low at 112.58, so kind of stopped right in between that 112.01, 112.58 level, 112.27. Gonna be tough sledding here at 113.50. You need to rally up a couple points to get back up to that gap area. You had a double bottom at 115.81 and 115.85. So over the next couple days, you drift back up to that $116 level. Going to be major resistance there. Kind of hard to find a resistance point before that.
Well, Kurt, the new guy on the desk, just handed me a ticker, CUDA for Barracuda Networks, Charlie Uniform Delta Alpha, really rallying right now, up over 13.7%. That's over $5. So making a move, and it wasn't purely a gap up. It's really carrying through at the open here, really moving to the upside. Joel, what do you think here? It doesn't seem like there's a huge amount of news on this one. It is
This is Ann Arbor, Michigan company, isn't it?
I can check into it. Designs and delivers security storage solutions. So it looks like we've got a something kind of like what's the recent one that reported? It's a FireEye. Yeah, FireEye. I can definitely look to see if this is an Ann
This
Arbor
is
company.
in Ann Arbor. They took over the old Borders and used to be the old Jacobsons for your old, really old people there. But yeah, right in downtown Ann Arbor. I think it's kind of a recent IPO too here, right? In Ann Arbor, am I right?
Yeah, they've got they probably have they're headquartered in Campbell, California, apparently, but that doesn't mean they don't have an office there because they have over 1,000 full-time employees. So
Okay.
it's a big company.
All right. Anyways, just spiked up here, 44.20. That's the all-time high. Kind of nice thing about this is, if you were paying attention, I mean, it was a gap and go. 39.13 open, 39.12 low. Only gapped up 15-20 cents. Did they release something or like right off? Was there news or was just
Not seeing a whole lot. I'm
probably
wondering if
just
they got mentioned somewhere. I'm gonna have to dig into this one. We don't have
Yeah.
any news right now on Barracuda. We'll have
Okay.
to take a look at this because this is really moving with quite a bit of conviction.
Okay, all right. Well, the S&P's journeying north here, 1879.50 high, just trading off the highs. Really no targets on the upside because we're in uncharted waters here. Average daily range on the SPOOs is probably between 15, 17 points, but that would take us up to 1890. But S&P's not finding any sellers here. The regular session low, 76 and a quarter. Really can't look for any kind of decline until you get below that level. So, okay, guys, back. Took me a little day to get back to the markets here, get back to the East Coast time, and have a good trading day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.